a nation divided, the Venezuelan deportation crisis. The United States, a beacon of hope for immigrants worldwide, found itself grappling with a complex issue, the fate of Venezuelan asylum seekers. Fleeing economic collapse and political turmoil, thousands sought refuge on American soil. However, their arrival ignited a firestorm of debate, polarizing the nation. The Trump administration, known for its hardline stance on immigration, took a controversial step. Invoking a rarely used law, the administration sought to expedite the deportation of these vulnerable individuals. This action sparked outrage among human rights advocates and ignited a legal battle that would reach the highest court in the land. Midnight drama, the Supreme Court steps in. In a dramatic turn of events, the Supreme Court intervened in the dead of night. On April 19, 2025, the court issued an emergency order, halting the Trump administration's plan to deport Venezuelan detainees. This last-minute decision sent shockwaves through the legal community and beyond. The court's intervention, a rare occurrence, signaled the gravity of the situation. It highlighted the deep divisions within American society regarding immigration and the rule of law. Alito's Dissent, a lone voice in the night. Justice Samuel Alito, a conservative stalwart, emerged as a dissenting voice in the darkness. In a blistering dissent, he accused his colleagues of judicial overreach. He argued that the court had acted hastily without affording the government its due process. Alito's words dripped with frustration. He believed the court had overstepped its bounds, interfering with the executive branch's authority over immigration matters. His dissent, a fiery rebuke of the majority's decision, laid bare the deep ideological fissures within the court. Unprecedented relief, the ACLU fights back. On the other side of this legal battle stood the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, a staunch defender of civil rights. The ACLU had filed an emergency appeal urging the Supreme Court to block the deportations. They argued that the Trump administration was unjustly targeting Venezuelans, denying them their legal right to seek asylum. The ACLU's appeal painted a harrowing picture of individuals fleeing persecution, only to be met with further injustice on American soil. Section 5. A dubious justification gang affiliation and the Tren de Aragua. At the heart of the Trump administration's deportation policy lay a controversial justification: the alleged threat posed by the Tren de Aragua, a Venezuelan gang. The administration claimed that many Venezuelan asylum seekers had ties to this criminal organization, posing a danger to national security. However, critics argued that this justification was a mere pretext, a smokescreen to mask a broader attack on immigrants. They pointed to a lack of evidence linking the majority of detainees to the Tren de Aragua. The ACLU, in its appeal, argued that these accusations were baseless, aimed at demonizing an entire population. Section 6. The ghost of 1798, the Alien Enemies Act resurfaces. To justify its actions, the Trump administration resurrected a relic of the past, the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. This law, enacted during a time of war with France, granted the president sweeping powers to detain and deport immigrants deemed enemy aliens. The law's revival sent chills down the spines of legal scholars and civil rights advocates. They argued that the Alien Enemies Act, a product of a bygone era, had no place in modern society. Its use against Venezuelan asylum seekers, they contended, was a gross abuse of executive power. Section 7. Due process denied Alito's procedural concerns. Justice Alito, in his dissent, meticulously outlined his procedural concerns. He argued that the Supreme Court had sidestepped established legal norms by intervening before lower courts had fully adjudicated the matter. Alito emphasized the importance of following proper legal channels, allowing cases to progress through the judicial system in an orderly fashion. He accused the majority of circumventing this process, setting a dangerous precedent for future cases. Section 8. Executive power versus Judicial review, a constitutional clash. The battle over the Venezuelan deportations laid bare a fundamental tension in American democracy: the balance between executive power and judicial review. The Trump administration, invoking its authority over immigration matters, sought to implement its policy swiftly and decisively. However, the Supreme Court's intervention acted as a check on this power, asserting the judiciary's role in safeguarding individual rights. This clash highlighted the delicate interplay between the branches of government. Section 9. The battle continues. What lies ahead? The Supreme Court's decision to block the deportations was just the beginning. The legal battle over the fate of the Venezuelan asylum seekers promised to be lengthy and contentious. Lower courts would now have to grapple with the complex legal issues at hand. The Alien Enemies Act's constitutionality, the Trump administration's justification for invoking it, and the due process rights of the detainees would all be subject to intense scrutiny. This case, with its far-reaching implications, would likely reverberate through the American legal system for years to come.